Everyone. Hope everyone had a good weekend. Today we're going to do some more sub-D modeling in Rhino 7 work in progress, and then we'll use some Grasshopper to kind of make some, I'm thinking some sticks today that kind of wrap up with the sub-D form. So let's just get started. I'm going to check to see what units I'm working in really quickly. Millimeters, I'm just going to change that to feet for now. I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference anyway, but we'll do that for once. And then I'm just going to go up to the plane tool from the sub-D tools here. Let's figure out the scale of this real quick. Let's just make it maybe 20 feet. A lot smaller than when I had it. Okay. And I'm just going to lift it up. If I hit Alt and just drag with the gumball, super easy. Change this over to shaded. Now I'm going to take all three of these and subdivide them out. And then what I'm trying to do is kind of make some gyroid geometry throughout this whole thing and keep it semi-symmetrical at the beginning. So from here I'm just going to start bridging portions, just like so. And do the same for every side. I was looking at a lot of gyroids over the weekend, so I was thinking we could make something kind of similar to it, minimal geometry. Okay. So you get something like that, and then just go back through. What's cool is we can delete out the sides and make it look like it's a continuous surface. Holding Control Shift, that's how you select the actual face. You should end up with something like that for now. And we're going to mess with the form a little bit later, but for now, I'm just going to make this a poly surface, and then we can start to mess with it in Grasshopper a little bit, just to see if we can get something we like, and then we'll mess with the actual massing here in a bit. So I'm just going to take this, type in Grasshopper, I'm going to type in brep, set one brep, we're going to decompose it, or deconstruct it, sorry. And then I'm going to go up to, let's see, Lunchbox Tools up here. I'm going to use the staggered quad panels. And what we're going to do is basically just take this entire brep, I'm going to hide it for now. We're going to try to get out these staggering lines, but I think they might be going in the wrong direction, but we'll worry about that later. And then from here, I'm going to just deconstruct all those panels again so we can get some edges. So deconstruct brep again. And then from here, we need to list out which edge we're thinking of. Hopefully this goes right the first time. Nope, we're going to have to go with the second one. And then I'm just going to type in CRV so we can see what we're working with. I'm going to hide all this. Click on this. And then we can mess with the UV amounts here in a minute. So, like I said, we're going to do some sticks throughout this whole thing. So I want to make sure they're pretty prominent within the design here. And then type in extend, type in 1. Go. So we're starting to get some overlappings. That looks pretty cool already. I'm going to make sure it's a little bit higher than 1 just in case we want to modify it some more. And then I'm going to type in pipe, mesh pipe, and pipe. Before I plug anything in, because there's a lot of lines happening, I'm going to just make sure it's only 4-sided. The end cap, we don't necessarily need one, just to keep the geometry kind of low with a little error, hopefully. I'm going to type in join before we get started, join mesh. I'll flatten it. This will make things move a little bit faster. I'm going to hide the actual pipe. We'll give the radius to the pipe from here to here. We'll plug it into extend and see what we got so far. So we got some errors happening, so we'll have to mess with some settings. I'll bring it kind of low so we can kind of see what's happening in here. Basically, I was kind of going for this kind of woven look, which is starting to come into this particular design. So if I close out a Grasshopper and we just go to rendered view, you can start to see how these sticks are kind of just flowing throughout the area. It's actually looking pretty cool. And again, we're going to mess with the overall massing shorten shortly. I kind of want to see what happens when we take these and we mess with the actual direction of the surface, like we reverse the U and the V's. And for that, we'll just type in reverse. Sorry, I'm just trying to get these all semi-lined up so we can see what we're doing. I'm going to type in reverse surface. Click this one. And then this one's from Lunchbox. Yeah. So if you guys ever want to figure out where a component is, if you get one offline, you just hold Control-Alt and click on the actual plug, and it'll point to where they're located in the tab and then which drop-down. So from here, I'm going to just type in, we're going to reverse the surface from the deconstructed B-rep at the beginning. And then type in 2, see what the results are there. We can hide this portion here, line these up, just so keeping it nice and clean. And then from here, we just need to type in that reverse surface over the quad, staggered quads component. So I don't know if that's the one we're looking for either. I'm going to turn it to 3. I think this one's looking a little bit more exciting. So let's bake that out once again. Yeah, that's looking much better, I think. Might have to switch it a little bit. We'll increase the numbers. They look pretty stationary for me right at the moment, so go back to Grasshopper, plug that in. That's way too simple. We could use those later, maybe for some vegetation. And then maybe on the quad stag, we'll put V at 25 for a number slider. Or U, sorry. Hopefully you get more of the sticks happening. Line these up again. Let's bake out this geometry to see what it looks like. Yeah, so we're getting some cool parts in here, like parts are starting to come to life, kind of in this layering effect. Still not as exciting as what I was thinking, so we might mess with the surface direction again. Let's turn this down to 2 again. I'm just looking so it looks semi like woven, like a basket. So we have like smooth parts just like that, but then on the outside they get extremely like rough, similar to here. Yeah, so this is looking kind of cool. Let's see what happens when we turn this down to 1. Obviously, it's up to your preference on what you want to create. I'm not sure if the reverse is actually helping us all that much. What happens if we just turn it off again? Pick that out. Okay, back. Yeah, this might look cooler anyway. Yeah, so nice smooth, and then it's kind of transitions to rough, which is kind of the look I'm going for. Yeah, we can mess with that. Let's mess with the original form for now. We'll type in show. We can delete out that poly surface since we're going to go back. And I want these sticks to kind of look like they're coming out of the ground. So I'm going to take each one of these ground portions. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, and then if we hold on the gumball, that little sphere there, it'll extrude that face out, and then basically I'm going to hold shift on the gumball and kind of sprawl that ground portion out, so the sticks are going to look like they're coming out of the ground. And then from here, can't select everything. I shouldn't have deselected. My bad. And from here, what I want to do is we're going to extrude it down one more time, so it literally looks like they're coming from the ground. So just bring that lower, just like so. And then the top here, I think we make it a little bit wider, just like that. Maybe a little bit that way. So that's a pretty sweet form. And then since we're working with sub Ds, it's really easy on like kind of NURBS. We could start to modify it like even further, and it won't slow down your computer. And we could take out some faces, add some more kind of holes throughout the overall structure, but let's make this into a poly surface and see where we're at. Okay, just drag that over, plug that into Grasshopper quickly, set one B-rep again. Wait for it. Since we have more faces, it's going to take a little bit longer. I'm going to hide that. And then we'll see what it looks like baked. Alright. Yeah, so it's looking pretty cool. I might actually bring down the height of this because I'm trying to get, if we're just doing these for rendering views, you know, I think a view like, you know, this or something equivalent looks pretty sweet. I think we're missing an opportunity with the stick still, but we'll get there in a minute. So I'm just going to undo, delete out that, go back to our actual sub D model. I'm going to bring this all just a little bit lower, just like so. Now we might just make the top just even wider, just like that. And maybe we'll pop in a couple holes here and there. One back here. Yeah, so that's looking pretty cool. And maybe elongate it just a little bit more. There we go. So I think a view like, yeah, that's pretty wide. Okay, let's try that one more time. Make it just a little bit longer like so. So I think a view like that's going to look really cool. Okay, so I'm going to make that a poly surface once more time. So this particular one isn't completely parametric, but little hand modeling never hurt anybody. Okay, set one B-rep, do the same. We're going to hide it once it gets finished out. Perfect. Hide. I might mess with this one more time. Let's look at what it says. 0 is do nothing, 1 is reverse, 2 is reverse, 3 is reverse UV. So let's try 3 one more time. We'll just see what that looks like. So we got a lot more errors, that's for sure, but we can delete those out. Kind of liking that. Maybe we can add some different supports in there so it doesn't look like pieces are just floating. I think that looks pretty cool. Just kind of a stick model. Yeah, we'll add some extra supports here right after. And I'm going to just hold Control-Shift, delete out these extra parts because they probably go into infinity way out there, so we don't need those. Just deleting them. Control-Shift on meshes just selects the faces. And then just get these tiny little parts in here. Okay, the same from here. These lower portions don't really matter. I just don't want any errors when we go to render it. Okay, and then if I hold Control-Shift-E, it doesn't look like anything's out in the far distance, which could kind of compromise the model as for rendering. Delete out that portion too. So that looks pretty cool. I see some kind of just random ones here and there, but that's all right. Okay. That's looking pretty cool. Again, we're going to add some striations happening, so it looks like it's semi-structured. From here, all I'm going to do is select these next few, just like so, and then we're going to plug that pipe into here, so we start to get the striations happening in the opposite direction. I'm going to bring that number extremely low, so it's just barely there. Line these all up so we got some organization happening. Let's see here, bring that back. Okay, now I'm just going to bake that out, hide it, make sure we don't have too many errors. So this is what I was talking about. So it's kind of like a lattice work for bamboo or something. That's looking really cool. All right, and then the last thing I'm going to do, and it's probably not needed by any means, but I want to add some vegetation that kind of strolls through the overall form that's starting to arise here. So what I'm going to do, just go back here, and I want to work off the contours. So if I just type in contour, I don't want them everywhere, just certain areas. And then when I want to create a vector, so XYZ, we're just going to do construct a point. I'm going to type in just 2 period, and we're going to work off the XY plane. And then we're going to type in XYZ again. Make a 2-point vector. 2-point A to B. And that's going to, all we need to do, yep, okay, so that's going to be our vector for here. And then we just type in a distance, 2 period. Again, we're not going to use every single one of these, but let's see what this. Is our vector not working? Let's see what's going on. I wonder if we just make a line. That'll work, maybe. Okay, plug that in over here. It's not working. Other. Okay. So I bet your vector will still work. Yep. Okay. Get some organization in here. Put that up a little bit higher. Like I said before, I don't want to use all the contours because it might look a little bit too repetitive, just as for making something like similar to this. So I'm just going to do a random split list for this overall thing on the contour area. And split list. I believe this is in Lunchbox as well. Okay, we're going to just flatten that. I'm going to just type in curve CRV. See which ones we're getting, make sure it looks compositionally pleasing. Okay, so if I just hover over that green again. So just a few areas, right? I might bring down the actual contour distance, say low. It's not density, but just not everywhere. Okay, so something like that, and then I might bring in the random reduce or random split list one more time. And let's see where that gets us. If we hide everything again, bring that over here since we're not using it. Okay, delete that one. So we run that twice. We'll still get the banding that we kind of want. It's just randomly applied. And then again, I'm just going to take that same pipe that we're using earlier, just plug it into some new curves. And that's going to be kind of this vegetation that's rolling throughout this stick structure. Okay. Now just bring these back, have some nice columns happening. All right. And I think this is pretty much ready to go. And then we'll just add some landscape on it. Apply some materials. I think our view is somewhere in here. Somewhere. We'll figure it out when we get there. Okay. Alright, so let's apply some materials to this overall study. This is going to be my grass layer since I'm going to change it to some sort of leaf thing in Lumion. The overall stick stuff, I'm just going to make it a dark layer for now so you can see it. And then this intermediate portion, we'll just make it bronze for now. And from here, all I'm going to do is just lock this. Let me create a bounding box first, and then we'll use that later. I'm going to lock the overall form down, explode out the bounding box. And like I said, I wanted it to kind of arise from the ground. So we're going to bring this all up pretty high so it just looks like it's purely coming out of the ground. I'm going to make this just bigger overall. Not quite sure how big this overall form is. So 77 feet, so it's pretty big. We want to be able to operate with it in Lumion, so I'm going to kind of just eyeball it and say it's less than half of what it was. Bring this point up to our 0, 0, 0 mark. There we go. And from here, we're going to make it kind of a desert scene this time, so I want some vegetation happening all through the scene. So we don't need to do too much on the landscape. It's just got to be kind of long and wide, and then maybe out in the distance we see some mountains or something. So I'm going to rebuild this. 125 by 125, pretty good. I'm going to go up to our select tab again, use the paintbrush tool, just select some areas randomly, get some kind of just far hillsides. Okay, deselect the surface. We're going to bring them up slightly higher. Go exaggerate it a little bit because we're going to go back in and type in smooth. Now we'll kind of smooth them out and make them a little bit lower, so we want to definitely exaggerate. Just like that. That's looking pretty cool. And you know what? Maybe through here, since we're already sitting on it already, let's make another surface. I'll make it slightly smaller. And then what I'm going to do is place it right underneath the model we're working with currently. I'm going to make it smaller. What we can do is take the surface we just built, type in DUP for duplicate border. I'm going to split out the bigger surface. We're going to use the smaller surface to make little pockets of water coming out of here. So if I type in rebuild again, we're going to have a much smaller grid. We'll turn the points on. We're going to turn the paintbrush tool back on. And from here, I'm just going to make these little pockets of water. All the little openings here don't have to be the same. If you hold shift and scroll down, it'll make your paintbrush tool smaller. See? Okay. Just like so. We're just going to lower that. Just like that. Make it more than what you need to. And then we're going to do the same thing. Just type in smooth. I'll smooth that all out really nicely. And then we'll go back to our plane tool again. We're just going to go end to end here. And we're going to lower it just so we have small little pockets of water happening. Just like that. I'm going to change that to my water layer I have here. And then the first ground, I'm just going to make it mulch for now. And then the other one, just in case, we'll make it pebbles. And I think this model is ready for Lumion. Alright, so it loaded up really fast in Lumion. What we're going to just start off by doing is just change the materials out. So the first material, I'm going to make sure we're just going to use some sort of ground cover. We might have to go to rock, depending on what this is all looking like. Let's zoom in here, just see. It's a pretty nice rock texture there. So maybe we'll change the whole thing to something similar. Maybe this is kind of a bigger rock texture. So make that much larger, but it still kind of matches. Unless they have kind of a redder one maybe. That one looks a little bit better. Bring that up just a little bit, so it's just going to be background anyway. And let's try to pick where we think our view is going to be. I think it's going to be somewhere in here, but we'll get there when we get there. Okay, go to nature. This will be our water. These are going to be pretty calm, not the ocean. We'll do that's some nice water. All right. That might be a little bit too crazy. Okay. Let's see here. Need to semi look like water is just sitting. What's that one do? Bring down the wave height. The scale's much smaller. Caustics will bring up. Reflectivity, bring that pretty far up. Foam, bring that pretty high. That looks alright. Probably not going to go from that angle anyway, so won't matter. Alright, and let's dig into these other things here. So these are our contours. Let's see how well they work with some leaves. Pretty well. Let's see what the other ones look like. Those are pretty big. And it kind of looks tropical, so I'm going to make the leaf size relatively small. Spread, bring that low. Alright, and this other portion, not quite sure what to use for this. I was thinking something like wood, but that might blend into the actual background a little too much. So we got to go with something kind of that pops. Let's see here. We should go super crazy with it, but might have to. Black probably won't show the best. We saw the detail. Let's see here. Leather look like? Leather could be actually pretty cool. Okay. Let's see what's tiles maybe. That actually might look really cool. Let's just see it and check it once we're there. We can spend all day on materials. Okay, then this one, I was just thinking a simple metal, something that kind of just highlights certain portions. Rusty, no, it should be rusty. Let's do brass, bronze, do gold for now. We'll just work with that for now. And now I'm just going to add some plants. Let's see here. Do some simple grass. What's just happening? Out of the water. And let's put some kind of maybe some dead portions in there as well, since we're trying to mimic the desert here. Okay. I'll just kind of do that everywhere. So this one's going to be kind of some grass in the water, some grass coming out of the structure here. That's kind of to cover up some errors too, so. Alright. We'll bring that over into here. Do the same thing for all 4 of these little areas. That's good. Okay. Get some kind of diversity in the grass. Some dead portions again, maybe out here. A couple sporadically just sitting. And let's get some more grass kind of sitting in there as well. Get some nice water ones in there. We'll just keep doing the same. That's probably the boring part. That one's a little bit too big. Actually, that'll look nice. Just put one of those in there. Here. And fill this up. Okay, we'll get some dead ones as well. Plants don't last forever. Alright, and what I wanted to do was add, I think I saw some dead trees somewhere in here. I don't know if they're at the end or not. There we go, I saw them. So we'll kind of place a couple of these kind of strategically around, so wherever we pick a view, there'll be just kind of background noise here. So there was life here, type of thing. Get some diversity in here. There we go. Okay, we'll just kind of meander around the whole thing. So you'll barely see them anyway, so if they look semi-redundant, it's fine. We'll just do pockets of them. Okay. Pop a few into here, just like so. Do a couple over here. And don't do the same one over and over, but try to add different ones everywhere. Zoom in. Alright. Click some different ones. Smaller one. Alright. And from here, just add a couple little areas of just kind of natural vegetation happening where the dead logs are. Not everywhere. Okay. Okay. And let's just try to pick a view now. So we can work on entouraging or where we want to do later. Alright, I'm just going to set a custom style, realistic, That's typically what I use. Camera, we'll make it 2-point for now. Let's see, what else do we want? We could potentially do a sun, and let's get some clouds in there. So, not real cloud. Here, clouds and sky, master cloud amount. We're going to bump that up. Got something happening. Low clouds, I'm going to bring that pretty far down. High clouds, we can probably have. Low clouds, we'll have a couple, I suppose. And from here, we just got to pick a few. So it's looking pretty wild already. So I might bring my focal length out a little bit so we get more background. That way these weeds aren't kind of in our way. And then we probably need some birds in the background. That's a pretty cool shot right there. So I'm just going to save that. We're going to go back, go to sun. Try to get the nice, best sun angle we can. Bring down the sun heading. Just like so. Alright, so that shot's looking pretty cool. Save it one more time. Let's get some kind of birds in the image here. I don't know if there'd be seagulls out here, but potentially. Alright. Just do a couple of these placements around. Just like so. And I'm just going to select them because Lumion just by default it puts them on the ground. So we're going to shift them over just a little bit. So we'll move them horizontally over here. And then we're going to raise them up. Just above. Let's check to see if we can see it in our camera. Yes, we can. And then I think that's looking pretty good for the most part. So let's just render it out, see what it gets us. 50, let me check. Yeah, 57, we're going to override. Okay, there we go. Alright, so the tile on the overall structure is a little dark, so we're going to have to more than likely just fix that. Or change the material out, in which I'm not afraid just to switch it. So from here, let's try this marbling maybe. Still pretty dark. I don't see a lot of change, so that's kind of the problem too. I don't want to go super dark because the scene's pretty bright. That looks pretty, can be pretty nice. Might be our sun as well. Bring that up. Sun heading could have a lot to do with it as well, although I bet it's got to go lower than anything. Okay. Bring that up. Let's try that. That's 57, I believe. Oh. That's much better. I'm not sure about these bushes and right here, but you know, we can switch that here in a minute. Might just be the view, to be quite frank. Could do a view just like this, that might look better. Kind of rabbit ears. So it's architectural desert oasis is what I'm thinking. So let's try that just for a view. And go back to our original thing, and we can go up here in Lumion. We can go to edit. We can do copy effects. And go over here. We can do edit, paste effects, and then we don't have to go through that same process what we did before. Alright, go to 57 again. Nope. So I'm really liking that actually. I think nice contrast with everything. Trees back here kind of bothersome, but you know, for this exercise, I think it's completely fine. I'm going to lighten up this area in Photoshop next. All right, I did change a couple things while I wasn't recording. I wanted to spread out the camera and tone down the leaves, so just so we're transparent here. So Photoshop, just kind of the standard. I'm going to hit Control J to duplicate out the layer. You can use the dodge and burn tool just to kind of lighten up some areas, and we might want to go in and actually use brightness, contrast, and then delete out some areas, and then vignette. So again, so just kind of lighten up some areas, make it look a little bit more desert-like. This area might be a little bit tricky just due to the fact that it's super dark in there, so I might just go back, maybe delete out that layer, Control J. We'll go up to, I'm going to do Control J twice just in case. We'll do brightness, contrast. I'm going to raise it up just quite a bit, just through here. And from here, I can just delete out the outside of it. And it might look a little bit strange at first, but we'll play with the opacity a little bit. All right, we could have done a mask, but we're kind of in a hurry today, so that still looks fine. What I'm going to do is just flatten those two together. I'll wait, do Control Z or Control I. Let's see here. Alright, never mind. Flatten image. Okay. And then I'm going to go back to my burn tool. We'll lighten that area up again. Lighten up here just a little bit. I'm going to Control Shift N. That's going to be make a new layer. Hit our paintbrush tool. Hotkey B. Okay. We'll lighten that up just a little bit. Duplicate the actual image. I'm just going to check if we go up to image, auto tone, see if it looks any better. I don't like that. Auto contrast looks fine. Auto color, I'm against. We want it to be warm. Then the sky, I'm just going to burn it just a little bit, kind of add some highlights. And then I might bring down this vignetting just slightly. And then using the burn tool again, kind of brighten up the grass there. And then one quick fix, this bird wing, we don't know what that is, so I'm going to just use that healing tool. And I think that looks good. So anyway, let's wrap this up. So again, thanks for watching, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, and if you have any suggestions of what you'd like to see, just put it in the comment box or message me, and we'll try to get to it. Have a good one.